So this week's AEW Dynamite kicked off with the in-ring debut of Christian Cage, and he faced off against Frankie Kazarian. And I was pretty curious to see how Christian would wrestle in AEW, and after this match, I think it's safe to say that he's still pretty damn good. This was a highly competitive match against a formidable opponent and made for a pretty strong introduction for Christian Cage into AEW. Then we had some promo packages of Darby Allin and Sting, hyping up a rivalry with Matt Hardy, and we also had one from Jade Cargill, hyping up her rivalry with Red Velvet. And then we had the exhibition match between Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall, with Arn Anderson as the special guest referee. And this match pretty much turned out exactly how I said it would last week, where QT Marshall turns heel, but whether this actually does anything for his career is yet to be seen. However, I honestly hate that we now have another group in AEW. Why does every segment lead to a new group in AEW? I seriously feel like they're trying to put every single wrestler they have in a group. Stop with the groups. Some wrestlers can do just fine on their own. So yeah, even though I knew the turn was coming, I still thought it was pretty cool, and we'll see where QT Marshall's career goes from here. Then we had a promo from Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and the only reason I bring this up is because I really thought that after Scorpio won the ladder match to see who would be the #1 contender to the TNT title, I thought he would be featured more prominently on Dynamite, but so far he's just been doing matches on Elevation. Then we had a match between Jon Moxley and Cesar Bononi, and it goes pretty much how you think it would, except they're still booking Moxley super strong by having him fend off 3 wrestlers at once, which I'm okay with because I've always been a fan of Moxley and thought he deserved to be positioned as one of the top guys. But yeah, Jon Moxley chokes Bononi out and wins the match. Then there was a backstage segment between the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle, where basically the Inner Circle returned in full force and beat up the Pinnacle as revenge for taking them out when they formed a few weeks ago. And I would like this segment, except there were some things that kind of took me out of it. Like there was this one point where Sammy Guevara slammed Shawn Spears' head in the doorway, and he did it so slowly and softly that I couldn't help but think how dumb it looked. And yeah, I get it. I mean, you can't obviously slam somebody's head in a doorway without actually causing damage, but still, it just really took me out of the segment. There was another point where LAX was going at it with FTR, and they showed that Dax Hardwood was busted open and he was bleeding everywhere. And I'm sure to some people that might seem pretty badass and cool, but to me, it just seemed really goofy and pretentious. So yeah, the Inner Circle beat up the Pinnacle, throw them out, and take back their locker room. I will say though, after seeing this segment, I really do like how the two teams are matched up. We got the big guys, Wardlow and Jake Hager. We got the mid-carders, Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears. We have the tag team, LAX and FTR. And we have the main eventers, Jericho and MJF. So I think that's pretty good. Then there was an interview with the Young Bucks, and Don Callis interrupted it, and he basically asked if Matt Jackson was dead inside, and he tried to wake him up again by slapping him, and then Matt was about to hit back but chose not to. And from there we go right into a 6-man tag team match with the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus the Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid. It was a pretty good match. Omega hit Laredo Kid at the end with the One-Winged Angel and pinned him for the win, and then Jon Moxley came out and had reinforcements in the form of the Young Bucks. And this is where I have to say something, because Matt Jackson came out holding his face from when Don Callis slapped him earlier, and it was honestly some of the worst acting I've ever seen. Like, it was way too obvious that he was selling getting slapped. But anyways, I think next week we're going to have a 6-man tag team match with Moxley and the Bucks versus Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, so that should be good. Then we had a women's tag team match with Nyla Rose and the Bunny versus the AEW Women's World Champion Hikaru Shida and Tai Conti. So basically, this is the story of 2 battling factions, because what are the odds it's going to be about anything else? The 2 factions battling distracts Tai Conti. The Bunny uses a kendo stick to attack Tai Conti when Vicky Guerrero distracts the referee, and then the Bunny pins Tai Conti for the win. Honestly, I don't have much to say about this other than the fact that I wish this feud was not between 2 factions. Like, I would much rather these women just battle it out by themselves. And the idea of the champion and the #1 contender losing while teaming together is honestly a little weird, but whatever. And then finally, it was time for the night's main event, which was the Arcade Anarchy match with Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy facing off against Kip Sabian and Miro. And this match was so stupid. I think we all knew that going into it. There was a prize wall of weapons. There was a teddy bear filled with Legos. And I still can't get over how cringy the commentary was when the Legos came out. One of the commentators said, "Have you ever stepped on a Lego?" And that nothing is as unforgiving as a Lego, which is honestly so stupid, especially when you consider that AEW used thumbtacks only 2 weeks ago. Then you have that stupid thing in every best friends match where Trent's mom shows up in her minivan. And honestly, once I saw that, I think my eyes just sort of glazed over because, this match was just stupid. Chris Statlander came out of a claw machine to attack Penelope Ford. There's just so much dumb stuff going on in this match. If there was one good thing that came out of it, I guess it's the fact that this feud is finally over. Like, that's the one good thing I could say about this. If you're into goofy, stupid shit, I totally understand why you would like this match, but it wasn't my thing because this was just gimmicked to hell. I honestly could not take it seriously, and maybe that's the point. Maybe you're not supposed to, so I don't know. But anyways, Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy beat Miro and Kip Sabian, and then the best friends, Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander, all hug in the ring to end the show. Not a bad show overall. We got some cool stuff like Christian Cage's match and QT Marshall turning heel, but there was also a lot of dumb stuff. So, whatever.